be on good afternoon, all students, affiliates, and members. Thank you very much for joining in. Can you please confirm if you can hear? Okay, great. Sorry about that. I didn't know that we were muted. So, welcome once again to this very interesting topic, which is effective handling of lookups in Microsoft Excel. And I was talking about the importance of knowing these applications beforehand, or if you're at the workplace, how important it is for you to have this knowledge in place when you work in an organization. Just because the modern workplace is evolving, every employer expects that the employees that join them should have this basic knowledge. Just like a few years back, people used to say, for this particular position, we need people who are good at communication. Then communication skills became a norm, which means you don't have to prove to employers now that you possess excellent communication skills. They are taken as given. Similarly, those people who still write in their resumes that I am very, very, good in using Word, Excel, PowerPoint, this is taken as given. Now, this is exactly why ACCA, when it changes its exam pattern, when ACCA modernizes its exam pattern, we are amongst the first accounting bodies which has completely revamped the exam model. I mean, you will not see this happening in any other accounting qualification that may be known to you. So F5 to F9, when we move all these exams, these are very important exams, when we move them to computer-based, it doesn't mean that these are going to be CBE exams like normal. These are exams which will include the use of word processors, the use of spreadsheets. So therefore, ACCA is preparing even its students for the modern workplace. Now, exactly because of that reason, exactly because of the fact that we want our students, affiliates, and members to be work ready, to hit the ground running when they join organizations, we are preparing them, straight away from their exams on using these applications. But here we are talking about an advanced level of that. So one is the basic knowledge of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. We are talking about an advanced level. And we are talking about a level through which you can improve your efficiency while you're working with these softwares. So without further ado, I will call in our trainer, once again, the very well-known Mr. Khurram Khan, who's going to take you through the session. A couple of important announcements before we proceed on to the session. Number one, I'm talking to members, particularly all the members who are sitting here listening to me. There are two very important things happening right now. Number one is the member satisfaction survey. 2nd of November, the member satisfaction survey kicked off. The satisfaction survey talks about a lot of things. Talks about, is your accounting body providing you good value for money? Do you think the sessions that we are running, other things that we continue to do for you, do you think that because of these, you feel that you are professionally developing, you are growing professionally, etc. So, and the brand value of ACCA. So such things contribute to ACCA's standing in the market, and they contribute to members' well-being in the market. What is your opinion? Do you think we need to do more of these? We need to do less of these? We need to do something else? We can only make this decision once we hear from you. What happens is that out of a total of about 5,000 members that we have, 1,200, 1,300 members every quarter are picked up. They're not randomly picked up, they're divided into 4 groups. We pick up one group and send them the member satisfaction survey. Next time we pick up another group and send them, and that's how every member in every part of the world gets an opportunity to feedback. So The response rate to the member satisfaction survey in Pakistan has been traditionally very, very low. So far, 2nd November, I mean, the survey started from 2nd November. So far, only about 125 members have responded to the survey, which means about 1,200 other members who were also sent the survey have not responded. Listen, members, this is very, very important. And we want most of the members to give a satisfaction survey. It just takes about 5 to 10 minutes to complete that survey. But this gives us a lot of indication, hints, direction on where should we go in the future. So have we been bringing modern, up-to-date topics to you? Have we been, servicing you well? Do you think these webinars and other activities that we continue doing, do you think they are valuable? A few weeks back, we had a session, in fact, a week ago, we had a session with members in Peshawar. If there are Peshawar-based members here, do you think this was useful? Do you want to see similar sessions happening in other parts of Pakistan? I think next we are going to go to Faisalabad and Multan, and then we're going to do Lahore, Karachi, and Islamabad as well. But this is extensively about meeting, networking members, telling them about the initiatives that ACCA is taking. So that was the first very important thing. 15th November is the deadline for submitting your feedback for the member satisfaction survey. Please do not ignore it. I'm going to send you another reminder in a day or two. I'm going to remind you to fill your survey. Please do not forget that. Number two, again about members, the council elections are taking place right now. So they started back in October. So 12th of October, the council elections initiated, and they're going to continue till 23rd November. ACCA can only encourage all the members in Pakistan. Now, this is not a quota. This is not, 1/4 of the member base. I'm encouraging all members to vote. And while you are voting, please read the council's viewpoint also on what does council feel about the business resolutions, the special business resolutions that are in there. If you notice, there are 13 special business resolutions, 8 resolutions that are put forward by the council, 5 resolutions that are put forward by an ACCA member. Council has given its logic and reasoning around the resolutions. Council suggests a particular action to be taken about all these resolutions. So please go through those through the AGM booklet. I'm sure all of you would have received the AGM booklet. Go through those and then cast your vote. Deadline for voting. Now please don't mix up the deadlines. Deadline for council election voting is 23rd November. Deadline for member satisfaction survey is 15th November. I will encourage all the members to please actively take part and make, this is your share, this is your contribution to the direction in which ACCA is going ahead. So with that, I'm sorry I've taken a bit of time today, but these were 2 very, very important announcements that we had to make. Please don't forget these announcements. Please act on these. And with that, I'll hand over to Khurram, who will now come in and start on the subject. Thank you very much. Khurram.
Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon to everyone. And thank you once again for joining in on this very interesting topic of lookups in Microsoft Excel. Okay, this category of functions in Microsoft Excel is one of the very, very important category. Majority of the employers, when they interview their potential employees, they ask one particular question on this, that do you know VLOOKUP? If you know VLOOKUP, your job expectancy will increase too much. So this particular webinar on this category, in which we have various type of functions such as lookups, VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, then we have index, match, then we have choose, and we have, if time permit, then we will discuss direct and indirect functions. So these are the functions that we will cover in this particular session. We will start from the basic understanding of what these functions are. We will discuss what is lookup function, how it is used, then same goes with other remaining function. And then we will try to compare these functions such as lookup, VLOOKUP, and XLOOKUP. We will make a sort of comparison that in which circumstances they should be used and that how they should be used. And then we will also discuss some of the capabilities and the limitations these functions have. Then we will try to overcome these limitations by using certain other functions of this category. For example, VLOOKUP function has its limitations, and then we will try to use the index match combination to overcome those limitations. So this is what we will be doing in this particular webinar. So let's, I guess Saf has emailed the working material of this webinar, or is it in the process? Okay, it is in the process. You will soon be getting these files. Okay, let's begin with the files. Okay, soon you will be getting these 4 files. One is for practice, one is lookups basic understanding, then simple lookup questions, and then typical lookups application. When you open these, okay, you will find various worksheets. We will start from the first one, the lookup one. Okay, so this is what we will try to discuss right now. Have you uploaded these files, or they're there?
They are about to be sent.
Okay, they are about to be sent. Okay. Okay, let's discuss few very basic things about reference and a VLOOKUP function. By that time, Seth will be able to send these files to you. Okay, lookup function. These are primarily information retrieval function. With the help of these functions, lookup, VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, you will be retrieving data from the data set based on certain criteria. And there are certain category of functions by which you have the data and you want to identify the location of that data within a particular range. So we will be focusing on these 2 aspects. So information retrieval is the main aspect, that how information is retrieved using HLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, and lookup function. And we will also use that how to get the address of a particular value that is located somewhere in the range. The capability of these functions are such that you can do a variety of things. You can either do a simple task of information retrieval, or you can even perform certain condition-based calculations. So we will be using all these functions in order to do this. Then we will also discuss some of the typical tasks that is being utilized by these functions. That, for example, comparing two sheets. Sometimes it is the requirement that you want to compare two sheets, whether a particular data is resided in one sheet or not. Sometimes you want to have the multiple criteria VLOOKUP. We want to fetch some information based on multiple criteria. We will do that. We will try to discuss also some of the scenarios where VLOOKUP function have multiple instances in the data set, and we want to retrieve all those instances, right? So this is what we want to discuss in this webinar. Okay, let's start our first function of this category, that is lookup function. Okay, lookup function or VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP, all these are information retrieval function. We retrieve data, we fetch data based on certain criteria. Look at the scenario where you have, say, maybe if you are working in an HR department, or HR department wants to get information of yourself from the database. They have one unique ID of yours, and that is the employee ID. The employee, on the basis of employee ID, HR personnel can get the required data of yours from the data set. Similarly, if we want to, if there's a bank and any bank personnel wants to get the information of certain account holder, so account holder information can be obtained by inputting the account number. That is the second scenario. Maybe there is another scenario where a university, say, officer want to get the information about a particular student. So he has one unique value that represented by the student, that is either the registration number or the roll number. He only entered the roll number or the registration number, and he or she get the required information. So these are the scenarios which elaborate that what is the basic functionality of these functions. So get the data based on certain value, which is the unique identifier of that category. Look at this particular scenario. We have three columns. One is the item code, then we have the product, and we have the price. This is the normal database, the data set, in which if you look at this particular data, this particular row, the meaning of this will be that there's a product which is USB hub. 110 code is assigned to this, and this is the price. And the objective of assigning this item code to this is that this is the identifier of USB hub. So you can identify USB hub, the product description, price, or any other related information that might be there. Right now it is not there, but if it is there, you can fetch that information based on this 110. Similarly, we have 15. So this is, so in a particular data set, we have one row that represent a record of a particular item. So this is one record, this is another record, and all these are put in a table. So on the basis of this column, we can get these values based on whatever we have entered from this. Again, here we will enter 115. We will get USB mouse because USB mouse is represented by, or the code assigned to it is 115, and so the price will also be fetched using the lookup function. Okay, so let's start applying this function. There are three components of lookup function. The first function, the arguments of lookup functions, there are three. The first argument is the lookup value, a value that we want to search, and that value is being provided by the user. We will provide that value that we want to search. So in case 115 will be the value that we want to search. Now the second argument will be that this value will be found from where. So we will be providing a certain range that value will be identified, will be found, will be in that particular range. And the third argument, which is also a range, if that item code is found or the lookup value is found in the range, then the corresponding location, the data item will be retrieved from the from the third arguments. Let's do this. Is equal to lookup. Lookup is lookup. Okay, so just see lookup value. Lookup value is the value which we want to find, which we want to locate, and in that particular case, it is resided in C8. So the first is the lookup value. This is the first argument, and that value we have provided to it. Then the lookup vector. Lookup vector, the terminology is different, but it means that there has to has a certain range. So in this particular case, from where we want to find this. So this is the range, which is B2 to B7. So B2 to B7 is the range from where 115 this should be found. Then the third one is that from which range that in the particular information is to be retrieved. In this case, this is the range which is C2 to C7. Now, this is the value which is the lookup value we want to find. This is the range from this value will be searched, and then this is the range from where we get the data to be fetched. So 115 is located at that location. At the corresponding location of this range, which is this, so USB mouse will be returned. If I press enter, and you will see I will get the USB mouse. Similarly, if I want to fetch the price that is associated with code 115, I need to repeat the same lookup function. Lookup function. This is the lookup value that we want to search. This is the range from where we want to search this lookup value. And then this is the range from where we want to retrieve which is actually the price. Now, if you enter, we should get 150 as the answer. So this is, you see, 150. So this is very, very simple way of applying the lookup function. I hope it's simple and straightforward. Okay. If I change this value 115 to say 125, since we utilize the cell reference in our function, so it becomes a dynamic function now. So it will utilize this value in the function and will fetch the required data accordingly. So if I click 125, so 125 is located right over here, and beside these ranges we have USB speaker and 300. So if I click this, I will get USB speaker and 300. So this is the beauty of this using the addresses or the references in the function. Okay. There is one thing that we need to understand, and this is very, very important. If you want to get the correct answer using the lookup function, so you need to understand this concept. Look at this, that if I want to enter a value, I want to search a value which is not located in this particular range or the set of values. For example, if I say 129, so 129 is not there in this particular lookup range, but I will still get an answer. So one of the limitation of VLOOKUP function is that it will return, or it will search based on the method of approximation. So it will approximately calculate, determine the values, and will return the required values. It does not return an error message or something if the value exists within the range but it is not the part of it. It will only provide you the result based on approximation. That is number one. But if I enter 129, then I still get an answer of USB speaker in 300. If we get that answer, so the question is that how lookup interpret that and come up with that answer. Let me 116, for example. I'm using another value which is not the part of this range. If I enter 116, I get USB mouse. So you see that we have getting answers, getting values being returned by the lookup function. But on what basis these values are returned? That is the key question, and that is, if you don't understand this concept, you may get the right answer or you may get the wrong answer, right? So we need to understand. Now look at this data set. We have 110, 115, 120, 125. So these are data which is interval by 5, 110 and 115. So 115 and 120. How lookup function will work? It starts from the lowest value, which is 110 in that range. The next value is 115. So all those values which are greater than or equal to 110 but less than 115, so it means 110 to 114. Whatever the value is, either 110, 11, 12, 13 and 14, this will give you the USB hub and 100. Similarly, if you have 115 to 119, this will get USB mouse. Similarly, 120 to 124, this will give you USB keyboard. And similarly, 125 to 129, this will give you the USB speaker. So this is how it works. If you have the data like this, the interval data, so lookup function will interpret, will find, and will execute like this, right? There is one concern and one requirement rather of using the lookup function, and that is whenever we have the data like this, the data has to be sorted with respect to the lookup column in the descending order. Means you have to sort this data. You have to, all your data set has to be sorted with respect to that column. If that is the case, then you will definitely get the right answer. And if your data is not sorted, you may get the right answer, you may get the wrong answer, but you still get the answer. Try to make it sure you will get the right answer. Your data set, your table has to be sorted with respect to the column, lookup column. So this is a lookup function. I hope you have understood. Now let's move to the second VLOOKUP function. Okay, VLOOKUP function is one of the very, very important function. Very, very important function. In majority of the organizations, this you will find the utilization of this function. It is flexible, it is versatile. You can do a lot of things with VLOOKUP function, so the understanding of this function is very, very important if you want to perform various type of task. The drawback in the lookup function, that is, it always return some sort of an answer based on a particular value, whether it exists or not, right? But in VLOOKUP, this is being taken care of. If you want, if your requirement is that you want to get the correct answer, if you want to get the value returned which is existed. For example, if 115 exists in this column, it will return that value. If it is not, then it will give you an error, right? So this is the problem that we had in lookup. It has been taken care in this VLOOKUP function, and we will see how it goes. Now, in lookup function, we use one column, that is to retrieve the data, second column to retrieve another data, but we used to say that in this we will provide two different ranges for column, for this column and for that column, right? But in VLOOKUP, we have this complete data set. We will be providing the data set, this particular data set, to the VLOOKUP function. VLOOKUP function, the argument of VLOOKUP function, the first is the lookup value, as in the case of lookup. The second argument is the table array. Table array means the entire data set. This is the entire data set. And the third is the column reference, the column index from where the data will be returned. So this data set consists of 3 columns. This is column number 1, this is column number 2, and this is column number 3. This value will be searched in the leftmost column of this data set. So we don't need to worry about that from where this value is to be searched. In VLOOKUP, the VLOOKUP function is designed in such a manner that that lookup value will be searched from the leftmost column of the data range, right? If it exists, then the third mandatory argument of this VLOOKUP function, that is the column index, from that column the value will be returned. So let's see how it goes. Is equal to VLOOKUP. This is the value that we want to search, and now we need to provide the complete range starting from B2 to B7, all inclusive, all columns. By default, this value will be searched on the leftmost column of this data set. If that value existed in this column, then we need to provide the column reference, the column index. In that case is 2. So product is on second column, so we'll provide 2. One will provide 2 and press enter, we will get the product is equal to USB mouse. Similarly, is equal to VLOOKUP, and this is the value. Then we need to specify the range of the entire data set, and in this case we want to fetch price, and the price is in the third column of this data range, so we need to enter 3 and press enter. So this is the third column, this is the data range, and this is the lookup value. This VLOOKUP will identify, will search from the leftmost column of this data range, and if it is there, it will return the value from the third column. Okay. So far, this function, VLOOKUP function, has worked, executed as similar with lookup function. So whatever we have discussed in the lookup function is all applicable right over here. All the requirement that if your data set is, if you provide some sort of value which does not exist in this data range, it still will give you an answer, right? So right now the method of searching is approximation. And again, your data has to be, this data set has to be sorted in an ascending order with respect to the lookup column. All these requirements we need to specify. But what if we want to search based on not on approximation but on exact match? What it means that if data item exists in the leftmost column, you should get the answer. If it does not, then it will give you an error or something else. So if you want to, if your requirements are this, we need to modify our VLOOKUP function like this. Now, then we have the fourth argument, which is the range lookup. Now we have two different options available, true and false. True means approximate match, which is the default, and false means is the exact match. So if you click the false, this will give you the answer if 115 exists. So this is you are switching from approximation to exact match. And click, you still have this, and we have 115, and we have the false. Okay, instead of false, you still can use 0. So 0 means false and false means 0. So these are the two things that can be used at the fourth as a fourth argument, which turn your VLOOKUP function to execute search value based on exact match. So that is the case. Now we have 110. 110 exists, fine. We have 115, yes it does, but 116, that value does not exist in the leftmost column of this data set. And we have changed, we have forced VLOOKUP function to execute or to retrieve data based on exact matching. So if I click, if I press enter, I should get not applicable. So not applicable is, you see that 116 does not exist. So therefore we have the answer not applicable. So this is the difference between the lookup and the VLOOKUP function. Okay, if you want to use the exact matching capability of the VLOOKUP function, then you don't need to sort your data accordingly with respect to the VLOOKUP column. But if you want to use VLOOKUP function that is based on approximation, then you need to sort your data. So that you need to keep this thing in your mind. Okay, when using VLOOKUP function for approximation, then you need to sort your data. And if you don't want to use on basis of approximation but the exact match, then you don't need to sort your data. So this is one of the requirement. Now, there is a question here that sometimes it happens that you utilize the VLOOKUP function based on not applicable exact match, and you don't want to have this NA, rather you want to have other string, maybe item does not exist or something like this, but not NA. You can handle this, and this is one of the practical example that I will show you just after a couple of minutes. That if you have applied the VLOOKUP function or and you will get certain NAs, and you want to say perform some sort of calculation, say sum, then it will not give you the result, accurate result, rather it will give you an NA. So in order to avoid NA, to get NA, we will handle, we will use something in order to avoid this error, so that we can have this correct answer. Look at this particular example. Okay. Look at this particular example. We have certain salesmen, we have certain sales, and these are the bonus given to them. And this bonus is calculated based on exact matching, and we will have some sort of say not applicable error. And if we have sum all of these, this is the sum function, and we have applied this to this range, and we have got not applicable. So, but requirement is that we want to have the sum of these values, but we are unable to do that right now. So what we should do? So we will handle this error, but let's see what should be done in order to avoid these sort of an error. Okay, I'm going back here. So instead of NA, I want to say have written item does not exist instead of NA. So what I need to do? I need to use another function and nest VLOOKUP function in that function, and the name of that function is if error function. So I will change this function. I will use if error function, if error. It means that if VLOOKUP function will give you an error which is not applicable, so NA is an error. So if error means that if it gives you an error, then instead of NA, type this whatever is there in double quotes. So item does not exist. Does not exist. And enter. So if this will give you an error, then do that. If there is no error, give the result. So the function, if error function, the meaning of if error function is that if any given function will give you an error, then instead of error, type this. Or if it does not give you an error, rather it will give you an answer, then provide me an answer. So if I click that, if I press enter, I should get item does not exist. Similarly, I need to change it. So VLOOKUP if error, then item does not, no information, and then press enter. So in the first case I said item does not exist, and in the second case I typed no information. So this is how you handle if error errors in the VLOOKUP function. Now coming back to this VLOOKUP error handling. So what I will do is, so I will just select this, zoom to selection. Okay, fine. There is already a function, VLOOKUP function here, and I want to sum these values, but since we have not applicable here, so due to this we are unable to get the answer. So instead of not applicable, we want to put a 0 on numerical value, which is 0, so that we don't have any error, and once we have the 0 instead of NA, we could have the sum calculation completed. So just change it to if error here, and then we have comma instead of 0, and then enter. Once you do that, and you will see we have a 0, and click that, so we have the answer. So this is how it works, and this is one of the practical uses of VLOOKUP function in sort of calculation. If you have an error not applicable, you are unable to perform few calculations and unable to get the answers. So if error function is one of the function which was introduced in 2007 onward, with the help of it you can handle these sort of problems. Prior to 2007, except 2007, we have to have a very complex formula or a function so to handle sort of a problem. So if error not only not applicable, it will also handle few other type of errors. If you want to get the detail what other errors will be handled by if error, you can always go to the help reference of if error function. Okay, fine.
We have a question here.
Okay, fine.
Abdul Basit Lada is asking, can you please explain how can we use approx maths, simple example,
Approximate.
instead of exact match?
Approximation, what actually his question?
His question is, give a little example about how the approx match works.
Okay, we have already discussed this thing that if we want to have the exact match, we just need to modify our function. We need to put the false. False means that we are forcing VLOOKUP function to search based on exact matching. But if we eliminate false or put a true or put a 1, then we are forcing VLOOKUP function to determine or to fetch information based on approximation match. Okay, maybe your question is that under what circumstances we will be using the VLOOKUP function based on approximation or based on exact match.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you want to have a sort of a scenario where we will be applying the exact match and okay, exact matching, the scenario is here, but okay, let me see if we have the values maybe for practice. Example 2 maybe. Okay, fine. So this is one of the example. Okay, these are the numbers and we want to convert these numbers into letter grade. In most of the educational institutions where Excel is used for preparing result, they uses either the lookup function, the VLOOKUP function, or the HLOOKUP function. And there they will be using the VLOOKUP function based on approximate match. So this is one of the practical example. I have been developing result for almost 20 years, and I've been using this lookup and VLOOKUP functions again and again, right? So I have been personally doing this. So look at this. The beauty of this VLOOKUP or lookup function is that, let me hide this thing. It's hide. Okay, only the lookup. Okay. Now, this is the criteria range. Now, by this, we should understand that if someone, say, get marks less than 50%, he should have got F. It means that 0 to 49 means F, as I've already elaborated in my last example. So if there is someone who achieved marks, say 50 to 59, he should have got D. 60 to 69, he should have got C. 60 to 69, 70 to 79, he should have got B, and 80 and above is A. So this is one example scenario where VLOOKUP approximation method is used. So let me give it VLOOKUP. This is the value that I want to search. This is the location. This is the reference data set, and I need to fix this F4 comma, and this is 2. From this data set, the left, the first column is the lookup column, will become a lookup column. This value will be searched in the first column, although it is not present in this particular range, but 0 to 49, this value is present in that particular range, 0 to 49. So we should have the F. So second column is 2. So if I click enter, and you will see I should have got false. And similarly, if I drag it down, I will get the correct result. So 52, 50 and 59 is D, so 52 is false. Within 50 to 59 is D. Similarly, we have B. B is 72, 79, we have B. So similarly, we have the correct result. This is one of the scenario, one of the examples, and I will give you a few practice questions pretty soon, where you will be using the approximate match and the exact match. So this is, I think, I've answered your question.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Let's go back to the basic understanding. Now, go back to the lookup function. Okay, if we have understood what VLOOKUP function is, so we already knew what HLOOKUP function is. Whatever the functionality of the VLOOKUP function, whether it is an approximate match or the exact match, right, or whatever we have done in VLOOKUP, we have there in HLOOKUP. The only difference between the two is the orientation of the data set. Orientation of the data set means that you need to transform your data. Now, if you look at this, we have VLOOKUP. This is data in the columns, item code, product, this. But if you look at the HLOOKUP, we have item code, product, price. This is in the rows. So if you look at this, we have the item code, product, and price in the rows. The data set is the same, but the orientation is that where we have the data in columns and here we have the data in rows. That is the only difference between HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP stands for vertical lookup, HLOOKUP stands for horizontal lookup. So very quickly, I will apply the HLOOKUP function is equal to HLOOKUP. So this is the value that I want to search. Then from where we have this data set, this is the range, right? And we want to get the data from which row. In VLOOKUP, it will be column index. Here we have the row index. So by default, C6 value 110 will be searched from the first row, and then whatever the row we have specified, for example 2. Now the value returned from the second row. If I click enter, you will see I will get the USB hub. Similarly, HLOOKUP, we have this value, and we have this data set. Then we have the third row, and then enter. So see, there is no difference whatsoever apart from the data orientation. The data in VLOOKUP has to be in the columns, and in HLOOKUP, the data set has to be in the rows. So sometimes we had the data in the rows, so there you can use the HLOOKUP function, right? So this is the basic understanding of what lookup, VLOOKUP, and HLOOKUP is this. Now I will give you one very simple example. There are simple VLOOKUP questions. If you open this, you have this data set and you need to answer. Already there are few functions listed here. Now you need to answer these. This is a sales report that you are creating about Mr. Harun. Harun is here. So what is the net sales? Number of columns. So these are the number of customers. These are the net sales. This is the profit and loss. So based on these values, Harun is in this column somewhere here. We should have 922.77 as net sales, 965.6757 as the profit generated. And there is a small trick. There is that what should be the percentage profit contribution of Mr. Harun. So you need to calculate at that rate. I'm giving you 3 minutes to perform these calculations, right? So 3 minutes. So I will rejoin you in 3 minutes. Good luck.
आपने देखने ही है सारा
Okay, please send me exercise notes on the email ID. Fine, Saksha will do that.
I've already done that.
Email, handouts, fine.
The handouts have
Okay,
been
fine,
emailed.
fine. I don't get any answer. Right, I gave you a sub. Kindly check whether you have sent it this
I've sent it.
particular email, because someone said that this being not shared.
The handouts have been already emailed to all the registrants of this webinar. Please find them in your respective email inboxes. Yeah. Adnan Khan is saying he has received them already.
Okay.
Thank you, Adnan.
Okay, fine.
Can you please all confirm that have you received the handouts or not? Abdul Rafi is saying received. See, thank you very much. Thank you guys. Thank you very much.
Okay, fine. Okay, let's continue with this. Okay, I get a very interesting question while I was doing this. That what does it mean with sorting the data? Now, sorting of data means that you need your data need to be organized in a particular manner. Okay, let's discuss this thing after 1 minute. But as far as this sheet is concerned, we will soon having a break, mass break in about 20-25 minutes. In that break, you will try to answer these questions. So I'm minimizing this. Okay. Now, okay. Now, referring back to the question that your data set has needs to be sorted, and what I mean about it. Okay, let me try to answer this particular question with one very simple example. Okay, at times we need to find the data from the left column. What I mean is that now we have our values here, and we want to get the data, we want to retrieve the data differently. Sometimes we want to say we know what is USB keyboard, we know the name of the product, but we don't know the item code. So let's try this out. Okay, fine. Now I'm changing this example, so let it be. We know the name of the product, so I'm just deleting this. Okay. We have, say, USB keyboard. Yeah, USB, okay, USB keyboard. USB keyboard. USB keyboard. Now, on the basis of USB keyboard, I want to know what is the item code of USB keyboard. So this is one of a very, very practical example. Uh, uh, we need to identify some values, we want to retrieve some values on the left column. And mind it, VLOOKUP does not have this capability. We will not be able to use VLOOKUP function in order to find or to fetch values on the left column, right? So we have 2-3 different alternatives, and one of the alternative is lookup function. Once we apply the lookup function, and there might be a possibility that we need to sort our data accordingly. We might be able to, we may get the right answer, which is USB keyboard is say 120, or we might not get the right answer. If we don't get the right answer, which is 120, then we need to sort this data with respect to this column. Let's see whether we will get the right answer or not. If we don't get the right answer, then we need to sort this out. Okay, fine. Is equal to lookup. We want to find what? USB keyboard, comma, right? And the lookup column is this one. And on the basis of this, we want to retrieve the item code. Okay, so we have done this and then click OK. So in this case, we are getting the right answer. Okay, we don't need to use, the data is already in the sorted order. Let me use maybe this one. Let me see whether I have actually prepared one. Okay, fine. This is the example. The file name is typical lookup applications. Just go to that, typical lookups application. I hope you have opened this. Typical lookups application. The first one is the retrieving from back column. Okay. Okay. Look at this. Now, here is the product name is gum. Look at this. Typical lookup application, the first sheet, which is the retrieving formula from back column. We have this example, we have the part number, we have the product name, and we have the price. Now what we want to do is we want to identify or get the part number or the code number based on the product name. So what will be the price of gum and what will be the code of this? Now look at here, I have used this lookup G1, B2. Okay, let me redo this for you. Lookup G1, this is the value that I want to search from B2 to B8. So this will be a lookup column. And if that value exists somewhere here, which it does, then the data has to be retrieved from A to A8. Now you see we have the data, we have the gum in this, but we will not be able to get the right answer. So if we want to get the right answer, what we need to do is we need to sort our data. So select this one, right? Then go to the data, then sort, and then sort by product name, and click OK. Once you do that and click OK, and you will see you will get the right answer. Right? Similarly is equal to look up, we want to this G1 and these are the column reference. This is the not this one, this one. Okay, fine. And now code name is gum. This is the gum, right? The code is 70 and the price is 15. So on either side you can get the data, but if the data is not sorted, right, you will not be able to get the desired result. So let me sort this data now. Historic data, now I'm sorting it with respect to part number, and you will see I will get the wrong answer. That is the error, not applicable. So that's what I mean, that you need to sort your data in order to get the right answer. I hope that answers your question. Okay, fine. Okay, minimize it. Basic. Okay. Let me find one simple example before going to the break. For practice. Okay, fine. Now we will have one problem coming up. For practice, open the workbook for practice, and the sheet name is EX1, example 1. Okay. Now, what we will be doing now, we will be applying the VLOOKUP function in order to fetch the name of an employee having an employee code Q111. And in that case, it has to be Nadeem. So I'm writing this, and you should be doing with me as well. Lookup. We have this thing, comma, and this is the data source, this is the data range, comma, the column is 2. So this is second column, and I get D. Similarly, is equal to VLOOKUP. VLOOKUP, then this is the data set, then we have this data range, and then we have now the column number 3. Fine. Okay, so this is the case. Now Q111 is this, A111 is A111, so that is okay. We are getting the right answers, applying the VLOOKUP function. Now the problem is coming. The problem is that if we somehow insert a row between name and department, what will happen? You will see we will get the wrong answer. So by manipulating the data set, by inserting or deleting certain columns, you will unable to get the right answer. So this is one of the limitation of the VLOOKUP function, that if your data set is changed by inserting or deleting certain columns and rows, yes, of course, then you might get the result like this. You will not get the appropriate answers. So that is one of the limitations of the VLOOKUP function. And we need to overcome this. We will be using alternative of VLOOKUP, which is the index match combination. So index and match. So we will be, after the break, we will be looking at what index is, then what match is, and how we can utilize index, match, and even VLOOKUP function in order to improve the functionality of problem like this, right? But I hope you have understand the problem. So we have got 4 minutes before the break. We will have, by this watch, it is 4:26. So if you have any question regarding lookup, VLOOKUP, or HLOOKUP, now it's time to answer those questions.
I've already answered a couple of questions.
Okay. Just share the screen, please. Okay, presenter wise, no sound, no audio. I'm sorry, I can't.
SN Tariq is saying, please explain. Please explain the example you gave previously, then discuss it. And he's talking about the Harun one. The one he gave for 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
SN Tariq wants you to explain that example that you gave them to solve in 3 minutes.
Okay, now this is your task to complete it in that break now. I just mentioned that you have not received this at that time. Now you have received this, understand the problem, and then do it yourself. And if you are unable to do that, then I will discuss that after the break. So you need to answer those questions. Yeah. The question is very simple. There is a data set and you want to generate a report that what is the total profit contribution made by Mr. Harun, how many customers are with Mr. Harun, and what are the net sales. So you need to fetch that information using the VLOOKUP function. And the only last thing, there is a minor formula that you need to develop in order to calculate the contribution, overall contribution made by Mr. Harun in the profit, in terms of percentage. So that is actually the question. You need to apply the VLOOKUP function. What if the data on the different workbook and lookup is to be used elsewhere in another workbook? Okay, fine. There is no issue. If you are in the network, so it has to, that particular workbook has to be there. So you need to just re-establish the links that is being connected. So once it is done, then there should be no problem. HLOOKUP, I couldn't understand it. Okay, I have mentioned it that HLOOKUP function is identical with VLOOKUP function. If you have understood what VLOOKUP function is, then you can easily use the HLOOKUP function. The only difference is the data orientation. While using VLOOKUP, the data has to be in the columns, whereas in HLOOKUP, the data has to be in the rows. And apart from it, there is no difference whatsoever in HLOOKUP and VLOOKUP. Please repeat the VLOOKUP column index number part I miss. Muhammad Tahir, you need to go back to the recording of this, or maybe at that end of this webinar, if we have time, then I will try to answer this question. And just scroll down a bit, sir.
That's it.
Just scroll it down, please. Okay.
You didn't have the mouse.
Already done. Just want to know if you're gonna discuss it or not. No. Okay, Donald. Won't we use indirect in that case? Indirect is meant for something else. In which circumstances $sign used in the formula? Okay, in one of my earlier webinar, I have explained in detail what is $sign means. It is the relative reference or the absolute reference. Okay, why do you press F4 in VLOOKUP formula? F4 is to converting the relative into an absolute reference. I assume that you already knew this. What if there is more than one similar match for an instance? Okay, we may have, and we have one of the examples to answer that, and we will do that later. Yes, so basically arranging data in ascending or descending order is sorting. Yes, that's a sorting is. Okay. What if the column to be searched for VLOOKUP has two same values? I mentioned that we will do that later. If possible, please explain the use of indirect formulas too in case of advanced lookups. Okay, I will try to do that if we get time today. Can lookup be used for exact match? No, I'm sorry, we don't able to use lookup for exact match. We either need to use VLOOKUP or HLOOKUP. Sir, please reply. I've already did. How to make formula of VLOOKUP if a row of column added in original set? This is the first item that we will be discussing after the break. Okay, fine. So I think how to share the answer with you, sir. Just said you did that or not. Dear sir, please tell me how to mail a simple VLOOKUP assignment to you. There is not an assignment, it's an activity that I gave you. How we use VLOOKUP formula using the name rather than ID of employee. I already did that. If you have this example of the left match, on the basis of product name, we retrieve the code. You can easily do that, but you need to be, if you are using the VLOOKUP function, the best strategy is to use the exact match. Okay, that's all. We have how many minutes of break? 15 minutes break?
Yeah.
Okay, 15 to 20 minutes break. Maybe it's a namaz break, asar namaz break. We'll see you in about 15 to, okay, 15 minutes. Okay. Okay, welcome back, Ji. Let's before discussing this particular problem that we just cited before the break, I was asked to solve the question that I gave you about simple VLOOKUP questions. Okay. Okay, as far as now, the question is that the sales report about Harun. We have this data available with us. This is the data we have, right? And we want to fetch net sale of Harun from this data set, which is net sales is this one, 2277 is the net sale. Then number of customers. The number of customers of Harun is 9. Then the average sales per customer is what? Once we have the net sale, if we divide it by the number of customers, we will get the answer. Then the profit generated is by Mr. Harun is 965.1. And then we need to calculate this one. Okay, let's see how we can do that. So we need to apply the VLOOKUP function is equal to VLOOKUP function. Now we want to search Harun from this data set. Now comma, then we have this data set with us. Then net sale is in the third column, right? First, second, third. So 3 is the third one, and we want to have the exact match because we don't know whether this data is sorted or not with respect to salesperson. So I told you that if you go for the exact match, there is no need to sort your data. So click 0 and enter, we get 227. So net sale of Harun is 227. So let me first highlight this. Then, okay, this is what it is. So then we have the total number of customers is equal to VLOOKUP, again, Harun. Then we have this data set. Then we have number of customers is in second column. So we need to have 2 here again, comma, 0, exact match. So number of customers, we have got 9. The average sales, this is equal to this. The value of this multiplied by this, we should get the average sales per customer is 253. Then the profit generated is equal to VLOOKUP. This value, comma, we want to fetch Harun from this. Then the profit generated is in the which column? First, second, third, and fourth. So comma 4, and then exact match, then enter. So we get 965. This is the answer. And the profit, percentage profit contribution. So this is the profit. So the formula will be is equal to sum of all these profits generated, right, divided by this value and then multiplied by 100. So this is the formula. This is the profit contribution in terms of percentage of Harun. So 721%. This should not be the case. Okay, it might be. So we have got the sum of these values. Okay, and we don't need to multiply this thing with 100, right? Okay, so this is actually the case. 7.211% is the profit contribution in terms of percentage of Mr. Harun. So this is what actually required from this particular assignment. Right, let's close it. Okay, go back to the not typical one, for practice, this one. Okay, before the break, we have just cited one of the problem of VLOOKUP. So if we insert or if we delete one of the column of the data set, we might get the wrong answers, right? So that is actually the case right over here. So how to handle this a situation? So we want that if the data, if the column is inserted or deleted, your answer should be accurate. There should not be any change within your a data set or your answers. So let delete it and leave it for the time being, because if we want to handle these particular problem, we need to understand two functions, and very uh, flexible, very versatile function, which we call the universal VLOOKUP sort of a thing. So we have two functions. One is the index function, and then we have the match function. We need to understand these functions first, and then we will try to, or definitely not try, we will do this, we will solve this problem of VLOOKUP, that how if we insert, we'll get the wrong answer. So we will do that. So before that, we need to understand the index function. So understanding, just open lookup basic understanding sheet workbook and go to understanding index match. Okay. So these are the two examples. 1, 2, and then we have the index. Okay, we will discuss that. Okay. Now, index function is again an information retrieval function, or the data retrieval function. We will retrieve data by using the index function. This is similar to VLOOKUP function in that context, that it retrieve information, right? But if we use the index function, the range that on which it is applied, just assume that index function will convert that range into a matrix. For example, look at this particular data set. This range contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns. And how many rows? 1, 2, 5. 5 rows and 6 columns. So we can consider this range as a matrix. We're having a order 5 rows and 6 columns. Right? 5 rows and 6 columns. And if we want to retrieve, for example, 83, which is right over here, this is 83. 83. We want to retrieve that information. We want to retrieve the data. If we consider this as a matrix of order 5 by 6, then the location of this cell will be the third row and second column. So this is the third row and this is the second column, right? So what I will do is I will use the index function, then will provide the range. We assume that that range will convert it into a matrix, and by giving the coordinates of the rows and columns, this will give us the number 83, right? So let's see, is equal to index. Okay, let's just give me, let me zoom it a bit. Okay. Is equal to index. So array array means the range that we need to supply. So this is the range. Range is D5 to I9. So this is the range. So by supplying this range to the index function, we just assumed that this range is converted into a matrix of order 5 into 6, comma. Now, in that particular matrix, we want to get 83. 83 is located in the third row and the second column. So what we need to do, row number, that is 3, comma, column number is 2. So range, in that range and in that particular range, what is the element or the value located at third row and second column? If I click enter, I should get 83. So this is 83. This is how it is used, right? So index converted a range into a matrix, just assuming that I'm using the word is just assume. So this is the range, and in that range, what is located in third and second column. So this will return the value located at third row and second column of this particular range. So let's say we want to find certain arbitrary of this index. This is the range, comma, maybe fourth row and fifth column. So fourth row and fifth column, I don't know what is, but this is the fourth row. 1, 2, 3, fourth row and fifth column. So 98. So at the fourth row and fifth column, the 98 is located. So 98 is present. If I click enter, I got 98. So this is the first version or the first method of using the index function. I hope it's a very, very simple and straightforward function. But if you combine it with index function, the capability and the power of this function will be enhanced manifold, right? And we will be using that combination a bit later. Okay, fine. Index can be used in slightly a different way. For example, we can convert this range into two halves. For example, let it be zone 1 and let it be zone 2. So we have this zone 1 and we have zone 2. And sometime we might get the data from zone 1 and sometime we want to get the data from zone 2. So this can be done using an index function. Look at this particular, or maybe let me just delete that. So is equal to index. I need to supply the range. This is 1. This is zone 1, comma. This is zone 2. So we have two zones. We have given reference to the two ranges. So this is, say, matrix 1. This is your matrix 2, comma. And we want to get the value from the first zone, maybe say second row and second column. And if I click enter, I will get okay, I need to, okay, fine. Is equal to index. I missed one thing, and that is I need to enclose it in parentheses. This is the first one, comma. This is the second one, closed. Now second row, second column. Now if I press 1, it will fetch the value from the first zone, and if I press 2, it will get the value from the second zone. If I omit, if I don't point out any number, then by default that it will get you the value from the first zone. Okay, if I don't give the zone references 1 or 2, by default is that it will always give you the value from the first zone. So it means that from D15 to F9, this is your zone 1, and the second row, second column, this is the second row and second column, 71 should be returned. So, what was that? Okay. Why is that? D15 to F19, D15 to F19, and why we get 29, 62. Okay, fine, we don't have any problem. Okay, this is your D15 to F19. Second row and second column, this is second row and this is second column, this is get 62. If instead we want to get the value of second row and second column, but not zone 1, zone 2, comma 2. I press comma 2 and I should get 42. So this is the second row and this is the second column, and we have the value 42. So sometimes it is very, very useful that you have divided your data set into, say, zones, and if you want to get some sort of values from any of the zones, you can use the index function of this form to get the desired value from each whatever zone you want to have, right? Instead of 2, if I just type 1, as I told you, 1 is the default. So if I click 1, I will get the first value, right? So second row and second column, that is 58. Now, I hope this is understood. Very, very simple concept, but very, very powerful concept. Now use the match function. Match function will not give you or will not fetch you the value located at a specific location. Rather, it will give you the reference or the position, a relative position where this will be located. For example, if you look at this particular, if you start from here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 8 values in this range. And what is the relative position of value? Q111 is in range this value, right? So starting from, if, okay, select this one as well. So D15, D25 to D33. So this is D25 and this is D33. We want to identify where Q111 is located, right? We want to find the solution, the position, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it should return 5. And if we started from here, so this will return 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's do by D25 and D33, and then by A111 to this one. Now is equal to index. Then we need to supply the range, which is this one, comma. But not the index one, rather we want to use the match one. Okay, match. I'm sorry, we are using match. So match function will return the position of Q111. So match lookup value. What value we want to search? So this is Q111. Q111. So Q111 is the value that we want to search. We want to locate where this exists in that particular range, and the range is this one, starting from here to here, right? And then we have another option which is match type. We have three different options. One is the 0, means the exact match. 1 and -1. 1 means the value that is equal to or less than or equal to whatever the lowest value will be returned, and that then if it is -1, the greater than or equal to whatever the value that exists will be returned, right? So right now we'll be using only the exact match. So it return 5th position. So if you look at here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Similarly, is equal to match Q111, or rather, let me just make it, this is the value Q111, we will check later, is equal to index, match this value, comma, this is the range. Now I've started from 26 to 33, right? D26 to 33. In the earlier case, I did that for D25 and D33. So, comma 0, this should return me 4. So, Q111 is located at the 4th position, 4th location. Similarly, if I say P111, so P111 located at the 2nd one, and M222 is located at 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is the basic purpose of the match function, is that match function will return the relative position of a particular data item within a specific range. Index will return a value based on the coordinates of the matrix, whereas match will return the position. So if we somehow combine this particular combination, then there is no problem occurred that we have seen in the VLOOKUP function. Now we have this. Let's do this with this thing as well. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, fine. Okay, sorry about that. Now look at this part. Now we want to see that what is the relative position of value department in range N25 to R25. So is equal to match. Now the value is DEBT, right? DEBT. In this particular range, we have 0 as the exact match, right? And then click enter. So this should give 1, 2, 3 because DEBT is located at the 3rd position within that range. So if I press enter, I should get 3, right? So this is how match function works. Now, if we combine these two combinations of index and match, so let me go back to our problem, this problem. Now, we have A values in this particular This is A111, B111, right? If somehow we try to identify the relative position of any value which is right in this cell, then we will be able to get the number. For example, A111 is located at the first position, so we will have one value here. And similarly, if we want to know the basic, the relative position of name, which is start from here, so it is one, we will get one, and then combining it with the index function, then we will be able to get the value which is located in the first row and on the first column, if that is the case. So what we can do.
I have one question for you. Arif Bhatt is asking, what if we have duplicates in that list?
Okay, what's up? Okay, what's up? Just hold your question for a second because this is on our list.
Okay.
We will be handling this in your handouts. You will be there is one, rather two solutions of this particular problem. Okay, so we'll do that. Don't worry.
Okay.
But first of all, we need to understand what is index and match function. I already tried to explain that, but now I want to combine these two in order to resolve the issue posed by the VLOOKUP function. Okay, so let's do it separately first and side by side and separately. For example, I have A111. This is at J4, okay? This is J and this is 4. So I want to find out is equal to match, okay, is equal to match, is equal to match, which value? This value, in range, in that range, and 0. If I click, I should get 1. So this is at the first row, right? Now, is equal to match once again. Now I want to find this from this list, and I want to have the exact match. Now I got 2. So the name is located at the second. This is the second one, right? So if I use the index function, index function, now the range is this one, starting from B5 to right. And I will be using 1 that represent this thing, comma, and this value represent this thing, name. And if I click OK, I will get Ali, right? So index, this is the range from where we want to fetch the data. M4 is this value, which is we got by applying the match function, so that we have the relative position of A111 in that, right? And similarly, this is the 2, again by applying the match function to get the relative position of name over here, right? So now combine these two by here is equal to index first, index. Now use this. This is the range, okay? Now match, M-A-T-C-H, match. What value? This value, comma, from which range? From this range, right? Comma, and then we have the exact match. Then match is closed. The first match is closed. Now the second one, match. What we want to extract? Name. point the location of the name from where we want to have here, right? Comma 0. So this is the function. Index combine it with match. Match will return the relative position of 8111, right? And name. This will return coordinate of the matrix from where the data is to be located. The name of 8111. Name of 8111 is, this is the name, this is the one, this is Ali. So this should return Ali. And so this is Ali. Similarly, let's repeat it. Index. This is the range from where the data need to be extracted, but based on match, which value? This value from where? From here, comma 0. First match is completed, comma. Then we have the match. Now, in case we have department, now we will get an error because this is the department and this is DEPT. So there is no DEPT here. So we need to change this. DEPT. This is the range. So comma 0. This and this. Now we have not applicable. Why is that? Because this department does not exist here. So what we need to do, we need to change it to DEPT. So just copy this value and paste this value, and we should get this, the right answer. Okay, now is equal to index. This is the range, comma, then match, which value? 8111, from where? This, comma, then 0. First match is completed, then the second match for the row, match, and now the designation. Designation we want to search from where? This particular, then comma, and then we have the 0. Second is completed, and we should get the manager. So 8111 Ali ADM manager. Now the last one is equal to index. Index, then this is the range. First match, then this is the case, G4 located from where? Here, exact match, comma, then we have the second match, we have basic pay we want to locate. Again, we might have, we surely get the error message because basic pay and basic pay, there's a difference, there is space in between, comma, then we have this, comma, 0, and we have completed. So not applicable. So what we need to do, we need to copy this and we need to paste this. This is pasted. Now we get the answer. Now we can have this P111, we get Wali, we can M111, we can A222. We all get the right answers, right? But now, if you say insert a space, insert a column, we have inserted a column in this particular range, what will happen? There is no change in the answers. Index match function will give you an answer, right? But what actually happened when we use the VLOOKUP function in order to fetch this information? We get some sort of zeros or maybe not applicable. The reason is this, that whatever whenever we have inserted the row, the reference, the column is changed. In match function, whenever the row is inserted, the reference will also automatically be changed, right? So if I say use another insert, so and if we then see you don't have any problem whatsoever, and if I delete it, I don't have any problem whatsoever. I may have, say, entered one, I want to say, for example, say any other value field, maybe this is the first name, maybe first name, and this is the last name, and something like this, and whatever column that we have inserted, so this is what it is, right? So this is the index and match function, a wonderful function to know, and this will give you the solution of many of the problems that you will be facing, right? Now, there is a time for a small activity, and that will be done by yourself. I have developed one of those. Or okay. Okay, fine. This is again the same. Okay. What you need to do is I'm giving you 4 minutes to this particular activity. Applying the index match function, right? I've already did that, right? But you need to delete this thing and applying the index match function. Now you have pence, you have small, these are the item description, and these are the various sizes. So if I select, for example, jackets from here, and then the size is, for example, medium. The jacket is, and medium is this, I should get 600, right? So using the index match combination to fetch the price. So these are the prices of various data items and for various prices. So I'm giving you 4 minutes to do that. Okay, fine. Let's resume. Okay, good. Abdul Basit have done it. The exact match column is working okay, but row is not working okay. It's giving wrong result. Just use match. Okay, what you need to do is you need to specify the range properly, right? Once it is done, okay, what happened? We had a break, namaz break, Maghrib namaz break. Webinar is still on. But are we back, or do we still have for this exercise? Can't see anything going. We had a break, so got it fine. Okay, fine. I hope you have all done. Okay, so okay, we have already. There is a practice file with you. Muhammad Imadur Rahman, I think the practice file have 10, 12 practice problems. You can solve these problems. How have you inserted? Okay, I have done it number of times in my previous session. How to create that this. Okay, namaz break we have already done. This something at start and after the break. Okay, fine. So, if you have any question, please write now. I will try to answer those questions, and if not, we will continue with the rest of our session. Okay, I guess we don't have any problem. Let's continue with our session. Okay, there is one last thing that we will be doing. Let me see if we have this, or in the basic, maybe at the end. Okay, these are the questions we will be doing a bit later. Okay, opposite. Okay, one last important function, that is the offset function. First, let's do this offset function, and after that we will be going through this sheet one by one. We have different problems and we will try to discuss all these problems one by one. But first of all, let's do the one important last function, that is the offset function. Okay, offset function is again the information retrieval function. We will be retrieving data from the data set. For example, we have this data set with us, right? So this is the data set, and we want to retrieve this value 73 while we are on B3. The current cell is, or the active cell is B3, so this will be considered as our base cell, and we want to retrieve this value. We want to see that what will be there on this particular location. So retrieving 73, this is the example that I'm just putting. Starting from B3, so this is B3, 2 rows down, this is 2 rows down, and then we are moving 2 columns right. So this is column 1 and column 2. So the function offset is equal to offset function. This is the base. So B3 is the starting point of the offset. Now the displacement is 2 rows down and 2 columns wide. So these are the number of rows and these are the number of columns. So height and width I will discuss it later. So offset B3, this is our base cell. 2 rows down, 2, comma, 2. So we have starting from B3, 2 rows down and 2 columns right. So this should give us an answer is equal to 73. Similarly, if we want to retrieve 98, starting from B3, this is 1, 2, 3, 3 rows down, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 3 rows down, 4 column right. So you will get value 98. So it's equal to offset, and this is the starting point. This is the offset. This is the base address. Starting from here, 3 rows down, and we have 4 columns right. We should have got the value 98. So this is the basic concept of offset function, the basic use of offset function. Now just assume that in this particular data set, we have values 73 and 49. And while we are on this, we want to add these two values, or we want to say get an average of these values, or whatever value that we want to have. What we will be doing is starting from B14, now the base cell is B14, 2 rows down and 2 columns right, we should reach at 73. So B14, 2, 2 will lead us right over here. Then we have 1 is the height. Height means the number of rows. And 2 means the width, the number of columns. In this particular case, row is 1 and 2 are the columns. So this offset function will take 2 values from the data set, this value and this value. I repeat, offset B14 starting from here, 2 rows down, 2 columns right will take us to 73. Now the remaining 1 and 2 parameters that represent the height and that represent the width. 1 means the number of rows, that is 1 row, and 2 means width, the number of columns, that is the 2 columns. So we want to have these values. So offset by this function, we will have identified these 2 values. Now what we want to do with these 2 values? We want to sum these values. So we apply the sum function and we get offset B2, these 2 values, and if we click enter, we will get the sum of this and this value, right? Similarly, if we want to get the sum of these values from the data set, right? So what we need to do, again, we want to get the sum, but before that we use the offset function. Offset starting from here, which is B21 in that case. Now 1 row down, 1 row down, and 2 column right. So 1 row down, 2 column right will take us to 53. Now look at this, what we want to have, 3 and 2. 3 means the width, the height, row. 1, 2, and 3. These are the 3 that represent the row, the height. And the width is 2. 2 means the number of columns, that is 2. So starting from here till here, these are the value that we have just holding with the offset function. So now we have this set of values and we want to do a sum of these values. So by applying sum and nested with the offset function will yield the result. One question you might ask that if we want to say use this particular set, so you need to use the -1 or -2. For example, if your base cell is this one, and if you want to get the value is equal to 63, so what you need to do is you need to go 2 column back and 1 row up. So means you will be decrementing 1 row, so this will be -1 and this will be -2. This will take you to value 63. So just try it and you will get the answer 63. And similarly, for height and width, if you want to have the height on the upper side, then you need to use the minus symbol along with the width and the height. Similarly, it works. Now the question is why we are using it. Sometimes we have ample data and we want to get the cross section of that data and want to apply some sort of function on that particular data set, which is somewhere in the huge data set. So offset function is an excellent function in order to perform that sort of calculation on the data set of the cross section of the data set, which is resided somewhere in the huge data set. That is one application area that I just tried to explain. There is another very, very important use of the offset function. In one of my, not one, maybe twice or thrice, I did explain one thing about the dynamic range. I discussed the static range, but not the dynamic range. With the help of offset function, you can create a dynamic range. Now, what is I meant by dynamic range? By dynamic range, I mean that if there is a data set and you have applied some sort of a calculation as we did in here, sum function, and if your data is, say, keep on appending, and we want to have the impact of all the data that is being inserted into that column will be shown in the function. What I meant is that look at here, I may have, say, 60. So look at here what actually I did. If I delete this, I get the answer 100. So this is the data, and this is the column that we have, and we want to say have the running total name, you may call it. In accounting, we have this running total in some of the task. So we have 50, we have 60, we have 70, and we have so on and so forth. So whatever the case may be, we have the values. So what we need to do is we need to sum all of these values. How we can do that, right? So I have just deleted one of the thing. Let's see how we can do that. The thing is that we want to have this particular data set. Okay, there is one problem because we were getting the wrong answer. Let me undo that. So 2141, that is not actually the case. If you select all of these, the answer should be 280, but we are getting 2141, which is the incorrect answer, isn't it? So the thing is that we have the data underneath that column. So we have this sum contains these values as well. So what we need to do is we need to cut these, Control X, and then we need to put these values somewhere else. Now we should have it. We should have got the right answers. So 280. So if you click that, we have the 280. 280 is the answer. And so we have 80. Now this becomes 360, right? So this is the sale amount. This is the example of the dynamic range we have created. So how should we create a dynamic range? This is one of the very, very important application of the offset function. So let's see how we can do that. Again, we need to use the sum function because we want to have the running total with us. So we want to sum all of these values, right? We want to add these values and all those values which will be here, right? One option is that we will be having, say, extending this range, but there might be a time that this range is filled and we will have some other values under this range, and then we won't be able to get the impact of these values. So it is better to convert this range into a dynamic range, right? So let's see how we can do that. So again, first of all, we need to have the sum function because we want to sum it. Now, offset function. Offset function. Offset function. So, offset function starting from this location. So, P2 is the starting location. We may convert it into F4, which is converting into relative, into absolute form. Reference is converted by pressing F4, comma, this is the starting location. Okay, we are not moving, say, right? So what we need to do is we need to say 0. And we have 0. So right now we are not taking these values because the starting position is this. Again, I repeat, the starting position or the base location is P2. We are not moving here, either right side or the downside. It is the height that will matter. What we need to do is we need to construct a function that will determine the height of the range, whatever, and we can use a count function, count A function, count or count A. Count A function will determine all the values. Okay, let me first write the count A function so that you can understand what I meant. Count A function, this is the entire column. So this function should return only the data item which is not empty, right? So if I click enter, I should put 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? Or I can use is equal to count. Count, I will get 8 functions. So either you can use the count or the count A function, right? So 9 and 8 will be the height. I will use this number as the height of the offset, right? So now is equal to sum offset. This is the starting point. Maybe use it for this. Then don't move from the base, but now the count. This one, the whole one, right? This will give you the height, and the width is 1, means the column is 1, and then we have this thing, offset, and now with the function, and that's it. So 360, and if we click 90, we have 450, and now our range is dynamic. Now, one thing you can do is, for example, if you select this part of the function, which is starting from offset, this, right? Copy it and go to the formulas, and we have the name manager, right? Name manager. We have already one. Let's create a new one. That is the sale, total sales. So actually, we are creating a name range. Name range is now delete this thing and paste that value. So offset the whole thing and then click OK, and then click OK. So if is equal to sum, and we have the total sale, we have used the total sale, and click it, and we get the 541 ounces. So either you can use this or you can use this. This is how you can be using the offset function for running totals, running averages, moving averages, right? This is very, very simple and straightforward, but yet a very powerful function, right? Now, if you have any question on the offset function, I'm giving you 2 minutes. Seth, do they have any questions?
The other one.
Yes, sir.
The cloud one. The one with the cloud.
This one. Okay.
Can you please minimize that question, the webinar thing? No, on the left hand side. The red arrow.
Okay, fine. Please explain, for example, match index separately. I already did that, so kindly tell me the limitation of index and match formula. I don't think you don't have any limitation. The only thing is that the range is fixed. So if you are expanding range, you need to keep on rearranging, re-evaluating the ranges. Or one thing is that you can use the dynamic ranges. Concept once again, okay, I will do that. Can you do a quick review? Okay, why 2 times 0 in sum offset function? I think you have missed why we have used 2 0. Okay, why can't we use simply is equal to sum entire row select? Okay, the thing is that if you do that, your worksheet may be heavy. What the purpose of offset and what does it does? I've already shown you why you should use it, because of moving averages or the running totals. Do we have this dynamic range formula in any of the handouts? The explanation might not be there, but the workbooks that we have received already contained all information or the functions there. What is the purpose of using dynamic range? If we use auto sum formula or simple sum, how dynamic range and offset dominate over or okay, again the problem is very simple. Auto sum is used for only the static data that you have. If the data is keep on appending, then you need to repeat auto sum again and again. But if you have that dynamic range, then there is no need to use the auto sum, right? So, okay. There are few questions that you need to I need to answer. Okay, the first question is that why we use 2 zeros, right? Okay, first of all, we need to understand what does we mean by this 0 and 0. I explained a bit earlier here that if we want to say locate this value we want to retrieve what value exists in this data set at locations second row and second column while you are here. When you need to have a specific location that you have, and if you know that a base location, from the base you can move around and fetch the required information. So by offset I mean is equal to offset is equal to offset. Offset means first of all the base location. So you need to identify the base. That is the starting point from where you can move around, go right, left, up, down, whatever. So I means, so 2 rows down, and 2 rows right. So 1 and 2 rows down, and 1 and 2 rows right. If I click that, this offset function will take my control right over here in this particular data range. So I will get 73. So that what is the purpose of this means, right? But in that particular case, we don't want to move right or move one column ahead or row. So that is why you have used 0 and 0. 0 means we are neither moving downward nor we are moving rightward, right? So we are not moving from this particular location. From this particular location, we want to have the height. Height means that how many data items we want to have in this our function. So if we have this, now you say offset P2 is the base. 0, 0 means we are not moving right or down, comma. Now this part of the function will determine the height. Height means that how many data items you want to have. So I am using the count function. The count function will return all the numeric values, the number of numerical values in that data range. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So count P colon P should return 11. So 11 means the height of H means that we want to have the 11 values starting from here, from P2. And 1 means the width. So, as I have just told you that the width means the column. So we have only one column. So we have only one column that is for width, and whereas count will give you the number of data items that exist starting from this location to that one, which is 9. So what it does, it will hold all these values in the memory, and then we will apply the sum function on all these values. And if we increase any value right over here, so this will be taken care automatically. Now, there is another function that auto sum. You want to use auto sum, for example, like this. So we have 543, right? But if these values are increasing again and again, for example, we have this, then we have to repeat auto sum again and again. The good thing about the dynamic ranges that whatever value that you adding, it is called the expanding range. All the values will be taken care of automatically. So that is the beauty of the dynamic ranges, right? So that is actually the case. Any other question that you have? Okay. Sum PP. Okay. If you want to do that, there is you can do that if you want to. But again, if you have enough data on your workbook, this can slow down the further calculation of your. This makes your workbook heavy. Okay, how is an offset function used in a financial model? So this question is the starting point for another webinar, and we will take this into some other webinar specifically on financial modeling, and we'll take this over there. We'll try to answer this. Okay, fine. We have okay, no more further questions. Now, we have discussed lookup, VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index, match, and offset. Now there is a time to apply all these functions into a different task. Typical lookup application, open this once again, and now starting from the first one. Starting from the first one. Okay, in that particular example, we have already done with lookup. That somehow, if you want to get the values from the left of the lookup column, how we can do that? VLOOKUP function will not be able to retrieve data from the back of the column of the lookup column, right? So we have answered this question automatically with the lookup function that I have explained once you have asked the question about what actually we meant by the sorting, right? So we have done this. Now we have another question asked by Mr. Batsa. And I have two options. Both are simple options. Now look at this particular, we have this data set, right? We have invoice number 11, we have another 11, we have another 11, right? And we have, okay, we have 3 instances of 11. Then we have almost 1, 2, 3, and 4 instances of 12, right? So we have multiple instances, and we want to have VLOOKUP applied to get all the values. See? So what we need to do is we need to make use of the helper column, right? We need to have the helper column so that we may have the unique data item. For example, we have the serial number and we have the invoice number. So this is the serial number. This is unique to every data record that we have. We have just concatenated it. So we have 1 and we have invoice number. So we have actually concatenated it in order to get the required unique ID so that VLOOKUP is applied. That is one strategy. You need to build a strategy or the logic to get the multiple instances using the VLOOKUP function, right? So in order to handle this issue, what actually we did, we have created a helper column by concatenating, by combining a serial number and the invoice number. So 1 and double 1. So if you concatenated it, combine it, we get 111. So we get 212, 311. All these values are unique. And once we have the unique values, then we can apply the VLOOKUP function in order to get the desired result. Okay, so we have the invoice number over here. So what we will do is we will now using we have this value, for example, this, and the thing is, then we need to press F4. Okay. This is, we have all triple ones, right? Now what we will doing is equal to applying the VLOOKUP. Now what we want to have? We want to have the concatenated value of this in this. So we will do either use the concatenate function, concatenate this value, comma this value, so that we have the unique data item from this column. Then we have, this is the range, this is the range, and we want to have the exact match, right? So this is concatenated, we look up, fine, okay. So we have, okay, what we have missed the column reference, the index. This is product is 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this should be 4, comma 0. 4, comma 0. Now it's okay. So we have the ABC. So similarly, if you down, we have PQR, we have XYZ. So we have ABC, then we have PQR somewhere. PQR is 11. Then we have XYZ, XYZ is 11, and there is no more instances. Similarly, and if you want to, say, don't want to have the NA, just if error, comma 0, duplicate it, and then click it. Then you have again apply VLOOKUP, then again concatenate, which value? This value, comma this value, and then you have this, comma this is the range, and then you have this range need to be fixed, F4, comma, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sale amount is on 5, comma 0, and then click OK. We should get the answer. And why it is not applicable? Now this time we did not provide the range, comma, this is the range, or we might have skipped. Okay, so we have 68. So similarly, if you go down, and again 140 PQR, all we are getting, and again if you want to have eliminated the errors, if error, and comma, we have 0. So this is how it works. Now we have this. Now what you need to do is, once you do that, after that you need to sort this, sort with respect to invoice number, and smallest to largest, or largest to smallest. And here we have all these, not invoice number, the product, that product. Okay, now you see we have the data. This is option number 1. Now option number 2 is a bit different. Again, we will be using the helper column, but in a different way. In that case, we don't have to be using, we don't have to use this thing. We only have to apply was wrong. There is only one thing that we need to do here. We need to develop a VLOOKUP column, but in a different way. We need to use the COUNTIF function and then concatenate it with the invoice number. So this function will give us that how many instances are there, in this particular range of that particular item. Okay, so let's try this thing first. Is equal to count if. This is the range starting from here, and then we need to fix it. Fix what? We need to fix the column. Okay, comma. And then we need to go down and the value that we want to have this ABC. And again we want to F4. What's wrong with F4? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. What's wrong? C2. Okay, we have done this. Not D1. We want to have this. Is equal to COUNTIF, right? This is the range, right? This is starting from here, F4. Okay, column D. Then we need to extend it, right? And comma. We have this, okay, and again we have to this. Why this give us 1? This should have given us, okay. We need to fix, fine. Okay, we need to have. Okay, fine. Why there is a problem? Okay, just give me a minute. Let me sort it out. We have counted $C2. Okay, fine. Take it. Now, count if this is the range. So, F4, you need to fix the column, then you will need to move down and we need to hold it for this thing, comma, and then C2. Now this will give us, this should give us the number of instances of a particular data item within that list. For example, if I click OK, I should get 1, 11 is 1, then 2, then 3. I should get 3, so I got 3. So 3 is for 11, and if I go down, this is the relative reference that I have used, 4 for 12, 2 for 11, and 3 for 11. So why it actually happened? I have created the unique data item for this. This is another strategy for creating a helper column for that has unique identifier for the row in the data set. So 3 means that we have 3 instances of 11, But in the second case, if you look at here, we have now 2. In the countif function, the first instance we have started from here. But at this particular point of time, when the formula is copied at this a particular point, the range is, because the range is relative, then the countif function will start from here. So that is the reason why we have 2 instead of 3. So look at this, we have now starting from C4. So this is the C4. So this is one way. Once we have all this stuff all together, by concatenated the countif with the C2, only we have the serial number and we have the lookup reference. So what we need to do is, we just need to create the VLOOKUP function. This is the VLOOKUP function. H4 is the value. This is H4. We are concatenating with this value. Apply this range, and the fourth you will get the answer. So this is how unique data items can be handled. Multiple instances can be handled using the VLOOKUP function. This is one way. Now, index match function, we have already done this. Then we have index match to, you have already done this, right? Now, this is another interesting example. I would like you to do it with index and match function. We have already done this. So index, match, and match, we have already done this. Now you can use this, you can have the same function with the combination of VLOOKUP and match. Right? We have the VLOOKUP, we want to have D11, that is this thing, right? We have this data source, and then we have the match. We have applied match, what we want to have. We want to have the regional sales, we want to select, and once we have the regional sales, that is region sales B. So once this represent the column index 2. If I change it, this becomes the column index 3. And so you can have the combination of VLOOKUP and index as well. Then we may have with VLOOKUP only. So you have 3 different options, either index match, then you have the index match in VLOOKUP and VLOOKUP, whichever is applicable, apply that. But index, match, and VLOOKUP index is more appropriate. If your data is changing, you have inserted rows and columns, then it is recommended to use either index match combination or VLOOKUP index combination, right? Okay, another particular example that we can do that. We have 2 sheets, sheet 1 and we have sheet 2. Look at here, we have this is sheet 1 that contains invoice number and the client details, and then we have again sheet 2 which have again the invoice number and the client. And what we want to do is we want to see whether these data item does exist in sheet 1 or not. That is how you can compare 2 sheets. So it is one of the tasks that normally we do at our workplace. So let's see how we can do that. So what we want to do is just say delete that. Just say we want to say invoice number, Control C, and we have Control V over here, is equal to VLOOKUP. We want to find this value from where? From here. Where was that? Sheet 1. sheet 1. Sheet 1, right? From this data source, make it a fixed one. Then again, just click 1 because we want to say whether does it exist or not, and we want to have this one, and then click OK, and it's done. Okay, fine. 11 exists, and see 11 is there, 13 is there, 15 is there, 23 is not in the first sheet, 24 is not in the sheet, and 21 and 22, these are not. So maybe if you want to handle this error, so just apply if error, and then you have not present, and then enter, and then drag it down. So this is invoice numbers there, and which is not ever there, 23 is not there. So this is one thing. Sheet 2. Okay, this is another important task that accounting and finance people normally do. They create the payroll sheet. Not the payroll sheet, the next one. Maybe this is the invoice date, this is the payment date, payment due date rather, right? So payment made within 31 days, amount receivable this much, and what you need to do, you need to see that if someone has paid within the credit limit, or if they do, they will have the following discount. Normally it is 31. So if you have 0 to 5, 15%. If someone has paid within 15 days, 6 to 15, it will be discount will be given 10%. If you are 16 to 25, 7% will be given, average is 30. So this is one of the things. So what actually we did, we used the VLOOKUP function by, first of all, we need to subtract these dates. C3 minus B3 will give you the number of days apart between these 2 days. This is the difference of 2 days. So 10 October 1st, 27 to November 1st will give you 31 days. Similarly, 31 days for this, 25 days for this, 20, just the difference. The difference between this minus this will give you the number of days. And on the basis of these days, you can determine the discount rate that may be applicable to your vendors, and that you use this discount matrix, discount rate, VLOOKUP what you want to determine. You want to find this value in this, whether it exists or not. So 31 is actually 30 or more is 0%. So you will have a 0%, then 25 is somewhere here, 16 to 25 you have 7%, and you have 7%, and so on and so forth. So this is how you can use the VLOOKUP function in order to calculation of this sort. So the payment received is this much, right? But this payment is discounted. This much is discounted given. This discount multiplied by this one, and you will have this answer. And you have this minus this will give you this answer. So this is how you can use VLOOKUP function in order to calculate, make calculation of this one. Similarly, we have the payroll calculation. And look at this, we have some basic pay scales. These are the brackets. We have 0 to say 30,000. So whatever, this is the medical allowance, this is the house allowance, conveyance allowance. on the basis of this particular column, what you can do, you can determine the medical allowance, house allowance, convenience allowance, pay allowance, etc., 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 based on with the help of the VLOOKUP function. I will do only one, so I will say medical allowance. I will do the medical allowance only. So rest you can do that is equal to VLOOKUP. This is the basic pay, right? And this is the data set we have, F4. You need to fix it. You need to fix this as well. Okay, fix it. Now, when you are calculating medical allowance, in this particular range, the medical allowance is in column 2. So you need to press 2. This is for column 2 and exact match 0 and then enter. Why? Okay, this is not an exact match. Why is not? Because we are dealing with the approximate match. This range 0 to 29,999. So this is the approximation mode. So you don't have to use 0 or we don't have to use 0 and then enter. We should get the answer. So this is medical allowance. So 25% is the medical allowance, and that 25% need to be multiplied by the basic value. So VLOOKUP function, whatever result that we have got from this matrix, which is 25%. So 25% multiplied by basic pay will give you the answer. So this is how you can apply this thing, right? So this is one of the good example, and you might be using it. Again, this is multiple criteria. You have multiple criteria. The strategy is the same. For example, you have category code, client code, etc., etc., the category code, and on the basis of this, you want to extract the product name and the price. The strategy is the same as we did for the multiple instances. So you need to create the helper column. We have the category code and we have this. We have created, for example, we have category code CA, client code is this one, concatenated, we will get CAPA1, and similarly for the rest of the data item. So if we have this two values and we want to fetch the product name and the price based on these two values, this is the multiple criteria that we are having right here, and we want to have the product name and the price. So what we need to do is we need to just concatenate. So this is the concatenate we did in our the first example from this sheet. So concatenated, we will get this sort of a thing, and then you need to use the range. This is the range. We want to find this concatenated value from this range of the first column. Once it is identified, then we need you need to specify the column reference. In that case, it is 4. This is first, second, third, and fourth, and we want to have the exact match 0, and we should get the answer. So this is 1. So understanding index match, we have done that. We have done that. We have done that. Okay, fine. I want to close it. Okay, this is again the index match function. This is the example. Again, the simple thing is I've used the index example. Again, you have the item code, you have the product, and you can use the index combination method 2. The method 2 is actually applied over here. What is the code, price, etc., etc. You can use this. Again, you can have the match example. Okay, fine. I think you will be able to do that. So I'm closing this. Don't save it. Okay. Now we have already done this. Now we have we still got 15 minutes, And we have two options now. One option is to practice files can be implemented. We can implement all of these. For example, we can apply the lookup, VLOOKUP, and HLOOKUP in order to calculate. Then we have again the HLOOKUP function. These are a few of the examples that how we can use VLOOKUP, lookup, HLOOKUP.
You can also go through the questions if there are any.
Okay, or the second option is that we may have different questions to answer. Okay, fine.
Scroll up a bit. You can scroll up a bit. Do you remember the last question you've answered?
Okay, scroll down. Okay, why 2 times 0 in sum offset formula? We okay. Okay, we have answered this question. Do you have this dynamic range formula in any of the handouts? Yeah. I've answered this question. What the purpose of using dynamic range? I've answered these questions. How is an offset function used in a financial model? We have also answered this question. Manzoor Ahmed, what is meant by future reference? I can create a dynamic range, or we can create a dynamic range for future reference. What actually you meant by the word future reference?
I guess he's referring to the future.
Okay, I'm sorry I can't answer because I'm unable to comprehend what is meant by future reference. If there is same name etc. in the column in which I find the value in index match, again then there is a problem with the organization of your table, right? So you need to organize your column headers, right, and the leftmost column. So this is the problem. You need to understand this, that this is the basic assumption that how you should organize your data first. There should not be any identical column headers in your data set, right? This is against the nomenclature. This is against the norms. In one of my webinar, I have discussed the concept of data normalization. You don't have any duplicate columns, right? So there is a problem. Once it is there, then you won't be able to apply, say, use some sort of functions in order to get the answers. So if there is the case, then again you have the problem of the VLOOKUP functions. It won't be able to handle. Then we need to have a different start. We need to develop a different strategy to handle these. So first of all, you need to set the column traits that there should not be any duplicate columns, right? For example, in a column there is a lot of name A, B, C, D, E. If I want to find value of A in the next column, if I apply index match formula, okay, there's might be one way of doing it that you can use the absolute and relative reference combination in order to avoid that. Once you have relative and absolute reference in place, then you might get the right answer. What is the use of the false and true function in VLOOKUP? Okay, false, if you specify false, Zishan has left. Okay, Zishan has left. False means that there is an exact match, true means that approximate match. Then we have, when do we use concatenate function? Concatenate function is a function that used to combine the content of two cells, right, as we did in the other example.
when we should put $ and when we should avoid $. Okay, Asim Rafiq, Asim, $ means that you are converting your reference as an absolute or vice versa. Absolute means when there is a range that you want to refer whenever there is when you copy a formula, that reference will be fixed. And if you want your reference to be referenced all the time in all the functions that you have copied, then you have to use the $. And if not, then avoid the $. Okay. Okay, please send this webinar at my email. Okay, Safsa will do that. Okay, is there any other question that you want to have? We still got a few minutes available with us. Okay. Can you, okay, fine, yes, you can use ampersand instead of concatenation. It is perfectly all right. Can we get the video on this webinar? Surely you will get this sooner, pretty soon. When will be the macro webinar held? I'm not sure. Harun Saab will let you know. Now, if you have any comment to make, you can make comment. Thanks, Bilal. Thank you, Atal Rahman. Thank you, Anj Muhammad Haris. Can we get the handouts? You will only get the worksheets used in this webinar. Thanks, Fahad. Sayyid Mohammed Mehdi, financial modeling's webinar is in the pipeline. Sayyid Stanley Shah, thanks. Thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. Fortunus, thank you. Okay. I think many praises. Thank you very much, all of you, that for our praises. Now I hand over. Got it? Okay, fine. Okay, fine. We have tried to explain some of the very, very useful function of reference formula category, and we have tried to explain right from the word, from the basic to the intermediate level and to some extent to the advanced level. I hope this webinar or the example that I have just discussed with you will be fruitful for you in your future at your workplaces, and I hope to see you soon in my next webinar. Thank you very much, all of you.